2009, dude, we were going into high school. Dude, we were becoming fucking losers. I mean, we were
Well,
already.
I was gonna say becoming. What do you mean?
We were becoming bigger losers, as in, now we're at the lowest of the food chain again. Because when you go to middle school, sixth grade, you're the lowest of the food chain. And then you go to high school and you're a freshman, lowest of the food chain. Except if you dated a senior, then you were like, fuck, you're dating an adult. That's pretty much pedophilia. Welcome to the GOTYcast 2009.
There was a junior that had a thing for me. You remember her?
Yes.
Her name was Valentina. Shout out to you, wherever you are.
Mm-hmm. Wherever you are.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing.
Hopefully you're dating.
You are.
I mean, it was only like 3 years apart.
I think it was 2. Yeah, because she was a junior.
I'll
and I
allow
think,
it.
yeah.
I'll allow it. You
So,
can date her.
thanks, Dad. 2009. Erik brought up the whole thing. Hey, we may be losers, but it's fine because we were losers. We were at our homes and we were fucking enjoying some great games because we're still in the hot years of video games. 2009 is no exception.
Oh, let me tell you, Ryan, I have a hot one today.
Oh, here we go.
Hot one today. It's not my favorite of all time.
I was going to say, I know it wasn't that, but oh boy.
But first, before we get into that, I got some runner-ups, and then you probably have some games to mention as well.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 runner-ups because
me too.
Dude, 2009, again, pretty solid year. To the point where you have 2 runner-ups.
I cannot. That is so funny. We did not plan that. That is not a bit. We did not plan this.
Okay. My first runner-up, I want to give a quick shout-out to our Lord and Savior, Tim Schafer, for making one of the most interesting metal games of all time, known as Brutal Legend. I love Brutal Legend. I love how silly it is. I love Jack Black. I love all the different music. I love the tower defense game that's in it for some reason. My second runner-up. I was about to say second game of the year, but no, runner-up. It's from our friends at BioWare, who keep not making it into our games of the years, but keep making fucking great games anyway. Dragon Age Origins, baby. It is their best RPG they've ever made. I'm not lying. Like, as an RPG, it is their best one they've ever made. It is the most fantasy. It's got 6 different fucking stories you can start out with to make your character perfect. All the classes feel good. All the characters are interesting. It's a fun story. You fucking slay a dragon potentially or 2. It's called Dragon Age. There better be a fucking dragon or 2. Let's talk about my real game of the year. Moy oh me oh my, Brian. Have you ever had a game?
What did just came out of your mouth? My oh me oh my.
Have you ever just had a game that defined your generation in a sense? Yes, it's your game of the year that happened a couple years ago.
Yeah, wow. I'm ready.
There were 2 games. One that we'll talk about in a couple years, and this one. This was my multiplayer game. This was the game that I got online at the end of my days, at the beginning of my day off, and said, I'm hanging out with friends and we're going to have the most fun of our fucking lives. It didn't matter if we were going with each other or playing against each other. It didn't matter if we were just doing a run of the campaign or if we played survival mode. Baby, it's Left 4 Dead 2. Valve strikes again, baby. Brian, how often did you see me play Left 4 Dead 2?
That was... So, spoiler, that is one of my runner-up games. So, I will have some fun stuff to say as well. But yeah, this was a very often game that you were playing.
I had my friends that we made through Left 4 Dead. Shout out to Acid. Shout out to Mr. H. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Alexis. Alexis, I know you're out there. She has a kid now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We met so many great people through that. Um, none of them I really talk to anymore, but hey, I'm sure they're all doing great. But there was just nothing like Left 4 Dead 2, except for Left 4 Dead 1. But, it just came out a year later.
Which was it was crazy that it was just a year later.
It was a year later. A lot of people weren't happy because they just spent $60 on Left 4 Dead and they felt that it was a little lacking anyway. It sucks to suck. Valve said we want money. I don't know what to tell you. I thought that the characters are, even though you don't get like a full deep dive of who the characters are really, there is lore, but I like each of the characters. I love Ellis. Ellis is that goofy redneck friend that you have. It's just like, all right, we're killing zombies. We love Coach. He's the big black man that's like, all right, let's get out of here. Oh, boomer. We love Rochelle as your typical female, but okay, yeah, Rochelle is pretty much that, but she has personality otherwise too. And of course, our boy Nick, the con man, the connoisseur with his blazing jacket. We know that was the one that Brian always played as.
Oh yeah, it made me feel like Scarface.
Scarface. We love the 5 campaigns are all different, unique, and interesting. Dead Center, Dark Carnival, Swamp Fever, The Parish, the other one. Oh, Heavy Rain. I think it was called Heavy Rain. It was something with rain.
No, that was a PS3 game, silly.
Anyway. But they were all unique, different, and interesting. Everyone had unique dialogue. I think my top 2 favorites though are Dark Carnival and The Parish. But shout out to Dead Center.
Hard Rain.
Hard Rain. I was close.
I was looking it up for you.
Thank you. Hard Rain. The heavy and hard are kind of the same, but also not. But I love each of the campaigns. Dead Center is like a good starting out point for like, hey, what is Left 4 Dead like? Going through the traditional style of Left 4 Dead, traversing from one safe room to another, and then here's this horde mechanic. Oh, hey, we have to get this guy some sodas, so he can open up the way to the safe room. Oh, you're telling me that I have to set off an alarm to do that? Here comes a horde. Oh, it's so much fun. And then you end it in a mall. You're trying to fill up the car with canisters of gas. So you're like, oh, Dark Carnival, top tier, 100%. Noam Chomsky is the real MVP. The ending that you're setting off a concert and discovering that this band is just lip singing the entire time, even though they're dead probably. Then you got Swamp Fever. That one's fine. You go through a swamp.
Might get fever.
You might get fever. Hard Rain. Oh, this one I thought was pretty genius because it's not the traditional you go through and then you end in a different place. No, you have to go through, you get to the middle point, and then you have to go backwards. But of course, it's downpouring and everything changes. And when you get to the final section, what you started out with or what you took from the beginning, is not there anymore because you used it at the beginning, but whatever you left is still there. I thought that was really fucking cool that you go and backtrack and things are still in their places and things like that. I thought that was really cool. And The Parish is just a fun ending chapter. You're running across the bridge at the end, for God's sakes, and they're going to blow up the bridge. Get to the helicopter. Use the adrenaline. Oh, yeah. The updates to all the guns. We got a nice new starter, different types of starter guns, different type of shotgun starter, a different type of.
They introduced melee weapons in this game, correct?
Melee was a big deal because, of course, they started off. One of the big things they showed off was Coach holding a chainsaw, and we're like, "Oh fuck, a chainsaw!" Zombie games are so much fun with chainsaws. Let's be real. Dead Rising was fun with chainsaws. Left 4 Dead 2 is fun with chainsaws. Dead Rising 2 is fun with chainsaws. That's pretty much all I can think of at the top of my head.
I will say, going back to my game of the year last year, this was again at a point where zombies, it was a thing, but it wasn't becoming so oversaturated and like the thing. So you were still like, these are awesome. And it says so much that everyone was playing this game, but you would still like there'd be nights where we're like, let's play the first one. Both of them were constantly played at the same time, which was fucking nuts.
I mean, if you go on to Steam, there are still lobbies, plentiful of lobbies.
Yeah.
Because the Steam version is, of course, the best way to play it. It's not that hard to play the 360 version of Left 4 Dead. It's just that, it's hard to get a copy because Valve did take almost all their games off of the marketplace for Xbox. The only one that you can really buy right now is Portal and Portal 2.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But I'm sure like there is a dedicated community for the Xbox 360 crowd playing the multiplayer. Let's get into the multiplayer, okay? So Left 4 Dead started out strong. Like the original Left 4 Dead started out strong with a simple 4v4. We're going to have 4 survivors, 4 infected, special infected. You don't get to play as just a zombie, you're not like, ooh. No, you're one of the specialty creatures because the whole gimmick of Left 4 Dead is that not every playthrough is supposed to be the same. The director, as stated by Valve and Turtle Rock, the original developers of Left 4 Dead, would change and put different special infected in different places. Items would be located differently. You never knew what was going to happen. But they said, hey, we're going to make more special infected. We're going to make some crazy fucking areas to go through. We're going to get that you just have the time of your fucking life. It doesn't matter. Multiplayer Left 4 Dead, 4v4, player versus player, top fucking tier. We love even playing as the survivors. The traditional gameplay you would play going through a campaign is a shit ton of fun because you would just have your friends being like, "Oh, I see that person over there. Oh, I think that person's spawning in right there. Oh boy, here comes this person with the tank. Let's hope it's not this guy because they're really good with the tank and know what to do." Or you play as the infected. And first of all, of course, the infected is a different type of play style. Whether you're playing as a hunter, a smoker, a boomer, a jockey, a spitter, a charger, a tank. My God, all those different types of infected. And then it's not like, they could have added more later. No, man, why is there only like 7? You didn't need more than that.
No.
It's not. No, because there's enough specialty between each of these. And they short, not limited lifespan, but, they're not meant to exist for too long. Boomers are meant to be blown up in an instant. The idea is they spit their bile out everywhere, they come uninfected. Hunters, they're long range attackers, but as soon as they get up on you, they're not that powerful. They're strictly trying to snatch out that dude, and that's it. Smokers, long range dude, don't really have that much health, but can deal a lot of fucking damage if they get in the right precision. They can literally yank you off the fucking map. Spitters, they're okay. They're mid. You just have to find the right place to spit and then find the right place to die. That's pretty bad. Jockeys, so much fun when you try to drag someone off the fucking roof.
Oh, that's the best feeling in the world.
Chargers, same case. You find that right area to send a charge and either like send them so you knock people away as well, or you take someone and you fly off the map with them.
And the other thing too is there's so much strategy because like a jockey, you get shot like twice, good, you're dead. So you have to be so strategic when it comes to like knowing like you have to hide a certain way, you got to grab them at a certain time, because then if you don't, you kind of lose your momentum or like you don't do anything. So it's all about like when you're the tank, you're like, well, okay, like I'm just going to fuck their lives up. When you're the hunter, you have to hide.
And it's all about communicating with your team as well.
That too. This was back in the day when you'd have to talk to your teammates.
Because literally you could all be like, okay, I'm not spawning yet. Let me know when you're spawning. And then just all 4 of you berate them like fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Because like you could have a team of a hunter, a boomer, a charger, and let's say a jockey. Okay. Boomer goes in first, blinds a couple of people. Hunter, go in and attack. Because, well, they can't see. Jockey throw him towards that way, throw another person that's right, and then Charger try to get in and not hit anyone in the way. So the zombies are in the way. The hunter can get in a decent amount of chunk out of the way, while the jockey's pulling this teammate away towards like a ledge, and then the Charger take care of another, so that the one person that's available has to like choose their fire. And it's so fucking interesting and awesome, especially when you have a good coordinated group of friends. That's why I always loved getting knowing I had a lot of people playing the game. We would just fucking be like, all right, let's go. Lots of people. We could just switch up our teams. Let's all go into separate party chats and then meet up at the end and be like, yo, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, that was fun.
And even the other modes with your multiplayer friends, like of course you can do the traditional campaigns. You can also do, the realism campaign. Oh my god, realism! That was a fucking choice that they made. I still have those. Those are the two achievements that I have left for the original Left 4 Dead 2. Is expert all campaigns and expert realism all campaigns, because boy, expert can be difficult when you're playing by yourself. No one wanted to play traditional campaigns with me, as much as like sometimes they did, but playing on expert was not their style too. But the survival mode was really cool too, trying to just see how long you can last, different types of weapons, and using when you can, trying to get the best times and things like that. And then, of course, they introduced later down the line that they would have a weekly or bi-weekly different mode to play with your friends and things like that. Yeah, they would do some weeks where like, here's the campaign, but you're by yourself. There's no one else with you, and it's just special infected. So there's no zombies, but there's just special infected. So you got to look out and pay attention. So fucking cool and terrifying. There's also like modes where they would specifically say, okay, the only special infected is this. That's it. Play against your friends. This is the only special infected. There's so much fun to be had with Left 4 Dead 2, especially with the fact that not every time you played it was different, even though it's the same game you're playing. And playing with your friends, getting into those not argumentative benches, but like trying to coordinate with them, like, okay, let's go, let's do this. I feel like the only arguments I feel like I had was picking my fucking character if it was late to the lobby. What do you mean I have to play as Rochelle? That was pretty much all the arguments we had, was if you were late. Because I mean, later down the line, of course, they said, hey, we're adding a DLC. It's called The Parish. Let's bring in the Left 4 Dead 1 cast. Oh, hey, that's awesome. Oh shit, Bill's dead.
And that DLC came out for Left 4 Dead, the original one, and it took place before.
It was a genius move on Valve's part.
Yeah.
And then of course they decided, fuck it, we're just gonna put all the Left 4 Dead 1 maps, Left 4 Dead 2, so you could just play those, so you didn't have to go back to the original Left 4 Dead, including the sacrifice eventually down the line. To each their own, And even then, like at the end in like 2017, 2018, they put out a new campaign for both the original and Left 4 Dead 2. They just used old dialogue recordings for both of them because they, we don't know who the fuck these voice actors are. I have no idea who they are. But they just had fun. They made new levels and was cool. I mean, especially with the modding community, they said, we love our modding community, so they're gonna make us a bunch of fucking levels. We don't care. This game will never die. Left 4 Dead 2 will never die on PC. That is one of the few games that will just stay alive forever and ever.
Stay alive. Ha 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 ha.
Except if you're an infected, you'll probably die.
Except if you're Valve and don't know what the number 3 is.
Well, I mean, if your game lives up where you don't need a number 3, I mean,
it's so ironic though. Like, it's like, oh, we're gonna go back to back 3? Left 4 Dead 3? Portal 3?
Turtle Rock, get the fuck out of here.
Go make back 4 blood. They're like, they can't even do 3.
First they said, we'll make Evolve first. That'll fail. and then we'll do Back for Blood, and then get bought by Tencent. We played Back for Blood twice now.
We did.
Yeah, technically.
2 different channels.
And those are the only 2 times I've played Back for Blood, to be honest. It's disappointing.
But, and I don't think, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not saying that the game is like great, but I don't know if that's fully because like the game is bad. I think a lot of it is like, again, like we've talked about back in the day, we could literally play all these single player games, but yet play 5 hours of Left 4 Dead 2 and still be caught up. Like it was like we had all this time, whereas now it's like I feel like maybe that might be the case if that was the same thing. But again, it's just everything is like heftier. Like there's so much more to games. And like Back 4 Blood was never bad. It just always got to a point where, like you said, it just there's certain special, like there's a specialness.
The problem with trying to recreate something that's, stands the test of time is the fact that you're pressured into trying to make something better, and there's just things you can't do to recreate that magic, you know. And there's choices that you make that also deteriorate from that. Their decision to not have a PvP mode really probably struck them down.
Yeah.
But fair though, their special infected in that game don't exist. I'm gonna be fair. It's just really like the fucking alien zombie things. And then like there's the big behemoth things, but like how would they make a player control that really? I don't know. There's nothing. I can't tell you what the fuck else like infected there were in that game. The perk systems or the card things, it seemed very confusing. I'll be honest. They made it easier with gun upgrades and things like that, finding different weapons. I like that style. I feel like the characters weren't really that interesting. Whereas like, I mean, and they tried to make a plot, I guess, but like also not.
Whereas do we think that's a Valve thing then? Do we think Valve was the secret sauce because Valve is Valve?
I don't know, maybe. I don't know exactly what went behind the scenes fully for something like Left 4 Dead 2. But, going back for Blood and even back to Evolve, like their characters are non-existent. And here's the thing. The characters in Left 4 Dead 2 are non-existent as well. They have very generic personalities.
But they're memorable.
But they're so memorable,
yeah.
Whether it's because of the way they say a line or whether it's because of how they interact with an object. Whereas the characters in Evolve and Back 4 Blood just kind of exist and they do things. And like there's a plot going around it and things like that. But it's like, is there though? I don't feel an attachment towards anything. Like I will always remember Ellis, Nick, Coach, Rochelle, Bill, Francis, Lewis, Zoe. I will always remember them. I will remember the fucking stupid boat driver from Hard Rain and Swamp Fever. I will remember Noam Chomsky, for God fucking sakes, even though the Valve thing, to be fair. I will remember the band at the end of Dark Carnival. Don't ask me their name, but I remember them.
Yeah.
I remember putting on that show and them interacting with it. Storm Riders, I think is what it's called. I can't be wrong. I could be wrong. But I that might be the name of the song or something. I just remember that so well. And
the Midnight Riders.
The Midnight Riders. I was close. Yeah, it is my favorite zombie game. Resident Evil exists. Dead Rising exists. All these other types of games. There's no other zombie game like Left 4 Dead 2. Dead Island exists. But I think I've gone on enough about Left 4 Dead 2. I just going back to what I said and like remember when I said like, hey, it's in like my top with my 2007 game. This is like in my top like 5 or whatever.
This is one of them.
This is one of them. I wholeheartedly think that this is one of the it's my favorite multiplayer game of all time, which is saying a lot coming up with a game that we'll mention in a couple years. Yeah, this is Left 4 Dead 2, fantastic. I love it so much.
Honestly, I'm debating us doing like our own tier lists of like taking all of our game of the years and being like, okay, now how do we order them in terms of what we think is the best? That'd be fun.
3 of them.
That could be something we can do. But yeah, so Left 4 Dead 2 was obviously one of my honorable mentions. That's so funny because this morning I decided at the last second I had 2. And then you said that, so that's fucking crazy. So yeah, Left 4 Dead 2, everything Eric just said, I say as well. And then a single player game, which is one that, again, we talk about this series and it's kind of what it is now. And it makes us sort of depressed because of where it came from. Because my other favorite, or my honorable mention, is Assassin's Creed 2. This game is when it was very quaint and it was so much better than the first one, and like seeing all the marketing and all the leaks, and people are like, again, this was back in the day where people had to go online and there was all these weird little like 2-second trailers and people are like, wait a minute, what is it? What's happening? Like, this was a wild time for these weird. Yeah. In Italy? What? No.
We're friends?
The storytelling, the level design, again, the fact that it's not overload with stuff to do. Yes, feathers indeed. We're gonna get feathers in a game? Fucking absurd. Yeah, Assassin's Creed 2 is awesome.
Assassin's Creed is awesome. It's a game I've been meaning to replay for a long time.
But yeah, so like we go through it. Again, this is when Call of Duty was dope. Modern Warfare 2. Probably one of the let's be honest, that's the biggest game from when we were children. Like, let's not lie. Like, that's easily the biggest video game to come from our childhood, because
Call of Duty
Modern Warfare 2 was fucking everywhere. Batman Arkham Asylum, Dragon Age Origins, Killzone 2, Borderlands, Plants vs. Zombies started in 2009, which is crazy.
Fucking
yeah, Infamous.
I just played that for the first time recently. Infamous. It's a great foundation.
Yeah. Halo 3 ODST, which again, I look back at with rose-colored glasses. Like, this game was not as bad as like everyone made it out to be. Brutal Legend, as you brought up. Shadow Complex, which we're never going to get a sequel to that because they hate us. League of Legends started in 2009.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's that's a lot of people's favorite games of all time. It's League. Yeah. Don't be a new player now.
Yeah. We got the GTA 4 DLC that came out that year, Ballad of Gay Tony and Lost in the Dam, so that was big. And the X-Men Origins Wolverine game, which is an underrated game, and I think everyone knows that.
Because it sucks.
So, yeah, it does. So, game of the year, as I didn't say, is probably universally the game of the year from this year. I think this is the one that I think when you think about like what would be the one most people said, it's probably this. It's a sequel and it's a franchise. Yes, it is. You're like, oh, now I know what it is. It's a sequel from a company that possibly going to be double dipping into. We'll see about that. But it's a company that, again, we look back at the good old days of when these companies were like gods in the industry and just what they were putting out. And we've talked about it before about cinematic and how video games were. And these were games that this was the only series I wanted to play on PlayStation. You guys play on Xbox so much. Oh my God. Bleh. My game of the year is a PlayStation exclusive. Well, is it? No, that one's not on PC. It's just the fourth one, I think. And the spinoff. Uncharted 2. Spider-Man and Marky Mark's Fortune. We're not gonna go among, we're not gonna talk about that movie. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. So Uncharted 2, first off, shout out to the GOAT, Amy Hennig. The GOAT, one of the GOATs of the gaming industry. She is a revolution, coming out with that Captain America Black Panther game. which is wild.
Yeah.
Which is like a crazy idea, but
I mean, if Iron Man's gonna get a game, I guess we're gonna do a fucking 1940s Captain America and Black Panther game.
Might as well. Yeah, this game from that time is basically everything and anything people think about it. The first game, in a lot of ways, is shocking to me with a lot of what they did in that, and the fact they got a sequel, and then
the first one is very wonky to play now.
Yeah. And it's like there's a lot of odd choices to some like the second half of the game. A lot of the stuff that unravels is like,
let's get fucking spooky.
Yeah, like let's just go batshit crazy. It's like, oh, okay. Like thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, the first game kind of has some weird stuff. So then they're like, you know what? First game is this huge thing for motion capture. Obviously made Nolan North who Nolan North is. We're gonna just go fucking bonkers with the sequel, and it is indeed bonkers. From that opening moment of you hanging out of a train and you're like, what is fucking happening?
What's going on?
Yeah. It just sucks you right in. And the Uncharted games are the Uncharted games. They are great characters, but he fucking murders a billion people and there's no connective tissue. It makes no sense.
No sense. For also being a teen rated as well.
For a teen rated game as well. And it's gorgeous. It plays so well. I did not like how aggressive you threw that cap down after you undid your coke. You just were like, get this shit out of here. It's so many memorable parts. I love the first thing I think of is that goofy little Marco Polo thing where you go in the pool and you play Marco Polo with what's her name? She's in Lost Legacy.
Crap.
What is movie? Yeah, she's the hot one. What's her name? Chloe. Chloe. You know, Chloe, you're just like, whoa, yeah. Who is this? But you're like, no, Nathan is a home man. He's gonna get Elena. You know, he is not all about these hot, frisky women. He's a family man, damn it, okay?
And that's why they said we're gonna cut Elena from the movie.
Like, no, we're gonna make it spicy. Yeah, and then obviously Sully is a fantastic character. Again, the characters in these games are so well written, so well performed as well. I love the set pieces. Again, I think that level with the Marco Polo, the beginning where you're running and you're aiming the gun behind you, shooting at the truck, the part where the whole building is falling down and you have to kill guys, but you're like sliding around, and it's like so well done. I think the traversal is well done. The way that the game ends up, again, the ending to this game is kind of goofy, but it doesn't matter because it fits kind of this absurd nature that these games are in, where the guy's like, he basically just snorts blue crystal meth and then he becomes a big brute, and then that's the end of the game, which, again, it's a video game. And it doesn't, it works kind of. We talked about games before where like the ending doesn't fit what the rest of the game is, like a final boss. This is definitely in that camp of the actual fight is good. Like, I think it's well designed, but it is kind of like, this is the only thing we could really do. So it feels kind of odd, but it doesn't ruin the rest of the experience.
Our final boss was, can you awkwardly kind of shoot him from like an angle?
Yeah, shoot him at an angle, shoot the blue crystal meth that's on the wall to blow him up. Just do that.
Really, like, okay, have a brawl out.
Yeah, basically, you know, and it definitely speaks volumes that the rest of the game is just so well. The part before the train falls off where you're moving on the train and it's like, and the map is constantly changing.
And you're realizing, wait a minute. Train, and then the crash happens and you're like, oh, this is the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and all the stuff on the mountain where you have to kind of like you're hanging out with that silent guy and you're just like, what is happening? And it's great banter because Nathan Drake is such a smart ass, and just his banter with him. And then I think in the mountains, aren't those weird like Yeti people you run into? Like there's like Yeti people you have to kill. These Uncharted games are wild. Like they're fucking crazy. Like it's, in my opinion, this is the best one of the series. I definitely believe that this game does everything this game should do. It's a great mix of character, it's a great mix of story, it's a great mix of gameplay, and it's a great mix of like what a video game is. There are definitely parts where like, I look back and I think of Nakey Jakey's video where he's talking about all the really goofy sections of you like climbing up the walls, and you're like, this doesn't work. But I think this game, the thing I like about this game is this felt like all of the climbing was not like Uncharted 4, I think, is a good example of most of that game is just. This game is you jump up on like a lamppost, and then you jump to this, you turn around, you jump. Like this was more 3D space of like traversal, whereas I think later down the line it just became, just go up the wall and go this way, go up the wall and go this way. Whereas like this game, and go this way. This game was like you're jumping off of different things, and the weapons are great. And again, like the combat, like you said, it was definitely kind of all over the place the first game. This was a lot more tight and well put together. And again, like I know it's corny to do the whole, it makes you feel like you're in an adventure movie, but it does. And that's the point that they're trying to do.
Jones games besides Lego Indiana Jones. So here you go.
And unlike those movies, you're like, it doesn't matter that he kills so many people because fuck Nazis. And this, you're just like, hey, Nathan, you're kind of like a fucking murderer.
Like, you're like, I guess they're terrorists, but they're not.
But just, like, it's like, I don't know.
They must have.
Yeah. No, I really love this game, and it was definitely that moment where this was the one when I saw like commercials for it and stuff. I'm like, oh, I need to get the Uncharted games. And then it was when the third one came out that I got a PS3, and I just remember
I saw that commercial with Nathan Drake holding a Subway sub, and that sold me.
I was sold. I was like, I need that game. Subway and Uncharted 2? What the fuck? This is legendary. No, I just really love this game, and it's an improvement over the first. And it, looking at that list of games from this year, it was just definitely that one where this was one of those games where I'm like, I want to play this. I wanted a game console just for these games, especially this one. And it's fantastic. And it's just fun. And honestly, I'm really excited to capture footage for it because you're probably watching it right now. But I haven't played it since it first came out, and I have the PS4 collection of it. So I'm going to be really excited to like go through the game again and like see all the little details. And, that's the other thing is this is a game that I just noticed like Naughty Dog is so attention to detail with the way Nathan moves and like the way he reacts. And you're like, you don't think of that, but then it makes things so much more immersive. We talked a lot about immersive games for the past fucking 6 years. And like this one is one that does that in a great way for a third person game with characters and story.
An actual
twist. Yeah, and an actual plot. But like the twist and turns, it's like fun because you're like, oh man, oh, like that's how these games are supposed to play. They're very over the top. It's fun and it's fantastic. It's great. And I love this game. It's my game of the year for 2009.
Uncharted 2 is a great. Not my favorite, of course, but it's not even my favorite Uncharted game. I'm the weird outlier, and I go, Uncharted 3, please.
You're one of the you're a third person. See, there's a collection of people that are in that 3 camp. So you're one of them. That's cool.
Like, yo, Nathan Drake in the desert falling out of an airplane. Let's fucking go.
Let's just put that in a movie now. Let's just copy it.
Yeah, let's just see it in action. I think it could be great. We should get that dude from the what's that movie he did with Ewan McGregor?
Oh, I was gonna say the guy. Hey, you know that really, really good video game movie, Max Payne? Let's get that guy. And on that note, 2009, as we were at,
Is there
freshman
any
year.
out in 2009? Tell us, are you still playing Left 4 Dead 2?
Yes, I will say that
I'm excited to get the
by
footage
the time you're watching this video hasn't come out, but there's a video that is coming out a month or two after this comes out that also came out this year that we're celebrating its anniversary.
Oh, also before we go, we're just gonna do a quick goodbye to the wall.
Oh yes, it is official. By the time this is out, Erik's already in his place. So, but right now is like the official end to the beautiful chaos of that wall. Maybe this will not be as chaotic the next time you see it. Probably will though.
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
So
a little bit before the remodel of the background. That'll probably take a couple months. But when it comes back, remember how it was at the beginning, full of things and stuff and the old or one out.
Like, comment, subscribe. See you all next time. Thank you so much. Toodaloo.
And that makes that I want to bring that up really quickly too, because we've played Black for Blood twice. Technically.
Here, can you give me 1 second? My dad's calling me and I'm very nervous.
Dad.
So hold on. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Hey guys, well Brian's gone. We should all judge his office right now. Let's see. Which Funko Pop is your favorite? I'm thinking that one right there. And that one? Oh, that one's pretty far. Oh, that one's you should sell that one. Ooh, get rid of it. That Boba Fett poster will never be hung up. Let's see. What do you think that poster is in the bin right there? Let me know in the comments below. Brian, I really hope that you make this like an end credit thing. Be like, hey, here's Erik's ramblings. Well, my dad called a special guest star of The Last of Us spoiler cast. Bye, Dad. Oh shit, here he comes. He's coming back. I only said good things, guys. I promise.
What did you say?
I only said good things.